the reflection, like just inner contemplation of what am I here for, got me to a place of seeing, I think I've done all the things I was told would make me successful and happy. Mm-hmm. And I am successful. I mean, I'm not the pinnacle, but I'm successful in my life and in what I wanted to create, but I'm not happy.
Welcome to a True Goddess podcast, where we inspire you to embrace your authentic self, be healed, supported, accepted, and empowered to live the life you desired. On today's episode of a True Goddess podcast, we have with us Dr. Valerie Renee Shepherd. Dr. Shepherd is a spiritual counselor and a teacher, an expert in consciousness and human potential, a keynote speaker, a self-mastery expert, and the CEO of the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. Despite having survived a catastrophic stroke, she is helping people to transform their lives from the inside out. Her proprietary 4-step process is documented in her multi-award-winning book, #1 international bestseller, Living Happy to Be Me, Dancing Your Soul Lifestyle. Growing up as a military brat, Dr. Shepherd has used her resiliency as a tool for her previous success in the corporate world, where she served as a VP of marketing, leading a $900 million portfolio of brands, a 9-year multi-award-winning track record at Procter & Gamble, and consulting for nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and several Fortune 500 companies. Dr. Valerie Shepherd is on the board of the Evolutionary Business Council and is a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success. She is a recipient of multiple awards, including the National Society of Leadership Excellence in Service Award, the Barbara Marx Hubbard Outstanding Evolutionary Leader Award, and the 2020 Platinum Mentorship Award. She brought with her years of experience and wisdom in how to strengthen self-mastery through heart-centeredness and universal spiritual wisdom. Without further ado, let's begin this podcast with Dr. Valerie Renee Shepherd. Welcome to a True Goddess podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sass. We empower each other to expand our authenticity and rise to confidently live our true purpose as we forgive the past and create a magnificent and joyful future, a sweet and peaceful earth. Today, we have with us an inspiring guest, Dr. Valerie Renee Shepherd. Thank you so much, Dr. Shepherd, for being here. Amazing accomplishment, Dr. Shepherd. And we can talk about you all day long. I have a privilege to speak with you a few times, Dr. Shepherd, and you are a wonderful person. And I'm so happy that you are on my podcast today.
Welcome. You so much. Thank you for having me. I am ecstatic to be here. I love the description of your podcast. It's so juicy and delicious. It really speaks right into my heart. Sweet and peaceful earth.
Thank you.
I just love that. And
thank you.
I'm very grateful to be here. I really love what you're doing. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And let's dig into what makes Dr. Shepherd such an amazing goddess. So tell us a little bit about, your childhood, how you grew up.
Okie dokie. So we're going to go all that way back, are we? Okay.
Yes, we are.
My childhood, I was a military kid. The vernacular is military brat. I'm a Marine Corps brat. My father was a career United States Marine, 30 years. My mother was but back then, she was a homemaker who also worked in the Department of Defense and the government, federal government, as a civilian. We moved around a lot. I claim Virginia as my home. I was born at Quantico, which is a military base. And I've lived in, at this point, I think 10 states. But back then, spent time in Virginia and North Carolina and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Illinois. And so a number of different states. Went to, I think 1 year, I went to three different elementary schools in 3 different states.
Wow.
So I built up a lot of resilience. I built up a lot of ability to get into a new environment and find my way around. And I also built up some things like fear around doing that, which I didn't think I had, and some other things from childhood. I was an athlete. I loved to run and bounce and play. And I did swimming and gymnastics and judo and sailing little sunfish, and created a sense of self that was around dealing with the adversity that comes from having that kind of life.
Wow. You have a very interesting childhood, and I know a few people who military. I guess you call military brats, right?
Yes.
And it's an interesting lifestyle because you get to see so many places and meet so many people. But again, like you said, it comes with a price, because you probably, by the time you make friends, it's time for you to move again. And that must be tough. What do you learn from being moved around all the time, besides the resiliency? And you mentioned that, and you also make friends easily. What other things that help shape you who you are today?
There are a couple things that sort of come from that childhood that are a pretty important lesson. So one of them is, I feel like I've created a peacefulness around loss.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember very well, we used to have a big old Chrysler Newport car.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to remember my brother and I sitting in the back seat and like putting our arms like up on the back window and looking out the window and waving bye-bye to friends. And I feel like, even though I still get hit pretty hard with loss of friends, loss of family, I feel like I've got a little stronger equanimity around that because I've been through it so many times. Loss of even the idea of what could happen. Well, because we're moving, so that plan is out the window, and got to come up with a new plan. So that kind of like boom disruption.
Mm-hmm.
You're headed one way, and then no, we're not. We're moving over there. That's a pretty heavy duty disruption for a young child. And I feel like because of having had so much of that as a young child, I feel like I've built this ability to deal with loss in a less traumatic way. And I think the other thing that is a part of the work that I do today a lot is creating your own joy in the midst of whatever's going on. That circumstantial things are not really where we should be putting our energy and our focus. We need to deal with them because they're right there in front of us, right? Mm-hmm. Circumstances are the circumstances.
Right.
And yet we have much more, I don't want to say control, but we have much more to contribute to our experience of those circumstances than we often give ourselves credit for. And that's really important in all aspects of life, because much of those aspects is not under our ability to change or to dictate or to control.
Amazing. We have one thing in common is, being moved, right? I was moved from Thailand to the United States when I was, not quite 12. And I can imagine the shock of going through it over and over again, because you move a lot. I moved one time and it shut me down for a whole year. It was difficult. but you're an amazing person to get through that and come out a victor.
Yes, and I really want to honor everybody who goes through these kinds of moves. I mean, I didn't have to necessarily learn a whole new culture and a whole new language. Mm-hmm. And so I just honor like your experience and what that was like, and everybody else, these experiences where we feel that the energy is being uprooted and then replanted somewhere that you didn't necessarily choose.
Right.
And making the best of it. So, blessings to you for how well you're thriving.
Thank you. I think we both come out okay, right?
Yeah.
Under the circumstances, we make the best of our situation. Yes. And thank you for sharing that. And because of this background, it really pushed you, right, to be the best of the best, because I was reading on your website and listening to a few of your YouTube videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even remember everything that you did. You got your PhD in consciousness and human potential.
Mm.
And you are on the board for Evolutionary Business Council.
Yes.
You're the member of National Society of Leadership and Success and a recipient of its Excellence and Service Award. And you have many other recognition, like the Barbara Marx Hubbard Outstanding Evolutionary Leader Award, the Platinum Membership Award. And, you're an amazing individual. And tell us and our listener, what is the drive behind all those ambition? And there's more. So what there's more. You're like an actress, and you were in the comedy show and Disney World, and you were in those shows, and now you're helping a lot of people. Tell us a little bit about the other life that you have, that the successful life that people look at you and said, wow, she got everything. She worked for this multi-billion-dollar company, running their, what is it? The marketing department.
Marketing, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What drive you to do all that?
Success, baby. It was all about success. And thank you for sharing those things. A lot of them are really cool things that I'm proud of, and there are days when I look at them and I'm like, that is so long in my past. It's strange to be talking about them. I have experienced a lot. It takes a lot for me to say that. I haven't said that ever before. So thank you, Dr. Sass, for this opportunity to tune into that. So the drive, I was even described as incredibly driven person. And the drive was what I was taught about success. And that success comes from working hard, paying your dues, showing up over and over again. Quitters never win and winners never quit. There were a lot of sacred cow beliefs, platitudes that were underneath what I was doing. And I was good at it because I was also taught, if you're going to do something, be the best at it. Do it well. Don't just do it well. And part of that, now that I've kind of shifted and transitioned into what I'm doing now, which is more spiritual, more grounded, more high vibration living, I recognize that some of that drive was from kind of low consciousness, low vibration ideas of myself, as a Black child of the 1960s, right? Think about what was going on around me. The circumstances of my upbringing back then were that there was a lot of training about having people see me as close to white as possible. And not because I didn't like being Black or I have something against Black people, but because the people who are evaluating me, who have the ability to promote me and to pay me and to showcase me, could have that. Systemic conditioning around a color ladder where lighter is at the top and darker is at the bottom. And so the drive was to prove myself over and 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 over again, so that I could be seen as something more than the color of my skin. Like when I walk into a room, you can't miss this and I can't take it off. So that's what was driving me. And it sort of ran me ragged. You know, it comes with a whole bunch of internally embedded stories around not being enough, around not being pretty enough, not being smart enough, not being lovable, a number of things that sound really bad. And I would say they're neither good nor bad. They're not right or wrong. They're just part of what I was conditioned to think about myself. And fortunately, I'm in a space now where I've healed a lot of that. And I love the part of me that kind of had a misunderstanding about who I am and what I'm here for. And now my drive, my passion, like drive is different than passion. My passion now is helping young adults. I call them emerging adults. So think about the 18 to 29-year-old. Know what I know now, but at an early age. I learned some things later in my life where I'm thinking, wow, if I had known this when I even chose my college, when I said yes or no to things, when I was doing what I was doing back then, wow, what might I have created? What decisions might I have made? What would I have stepped into? How could I have lived larger? I think I lived pretty large for me. And I still have the question of what more would have been possible had I known then what I know now. And that's my passion, is to help younger people have this spiritual foundation that isn't often taught. A religious foundation may be taught, but the spiritual foundation that I'm a leader in right now is not necessarily a foundational part of someone's upbringing.
Thank you for that. That's amazing. And what particularly, is there like a certain incident, like a moment that make you switch from, making 7-figure income and, being in the offices with the executives and all these high level people to say bye-bye, bye-bye to that life? That's not me. When was that?
What was the spark? There were a couple of them. And I just want to go on the record saying I never had a 7-figure salary at those big jobs. I was paid handsomely. I did get all the golden handcuffs, and the 7-figure salary was not a part of it. That said, I lived very well and I was very fortunate. And excuse me. And the catalyst for me was a staged process. So the most important part of it was, as I looked at my life, so, on Saturday morning meditation or Sunday walking at the lake or at the beach, the reflection, like just inner contemplation of what am I here for, got me to a place of seeing, I think I've done all the things I was told would make me successful and happy. And I am successful. I mean, I'm not the pinnacle, but I'm successful in my life and in what I wanted to create, but I'm not happy. It was this recognition of this emptiness, like a shallow sort of unfulfilling success. So, and then what came along with that was a little bit of guilt around how can I be unhappy when I've got all of this and other people don't, when I have all this ability and all these opportunities and all this money. And, I've got my dream car and I'm living in a great house in a really awesome neighborhood. Like when I checked the boxes of the material wealth, I had a lot that I was proud of and grateful for. And at the same time, there were things, like you said, the sweet and peaceful earth. The sweet and peacefulness in me was not really there. There was still a lot of, I could feel anger that I didn't know it was coming from. And just this whole thing of my inner realm, the inner place, was unsettled and empty. It's hard to describe it, but that's pretty much the feeling. And that brought me to a place where I kept questioning, what am I doing? What is this job all about? Is this really going to be my life? I'm just going to go to work and make money for a corporation and go spend the money having fun. Like, is that really it? And I did stuff at church and I mentored people and I did a number of give backs, and still it wasn't what I have now. Mm-hmm. And that was the catalyst, Dr. Sass, was being willing to say, this is good, but I want great. And actually, I want exquisite. And so I was at a place where I was willing to look at myself as the problem. Before then, I was kind of like, why aren't these people taking care of me? Why aren't these people seeing my brilliance? And I was making it about all of them. Mm-hmm. I got to a place where I said, okay, one thing that's for sure, everything that happens in my life, I'm there. So I'm the least common denominator. So I've got to figure out what about me is creating the experiences that I'm having. The ones where I'm going, wee, this is great. And the ones where I'm going, ooh, that stunk. Ooh, that feels really bad. Ooh, I think I hurt someone. Ooh, I think I harmed myself. Like all of that. And being able to be curious about it. And it started a journey that ended up in some really beautiful places with some really awesome teachers and some really wonderful spiritual counselors. And I still have my counselors and teachers. And it's been quite the transformation, personal evolution. And I'm a champion of personal evolution. I don't think we can get to the sweet and peaceful world without creating this sweet and peaceful space within all of us. And yes. So I'm on that mission to birth more peace, love, and joy on the planet through everything I do.
Great. That's just so beautiful. And you should see when you express yourself, it's just amazing. You just see all this beautiful energy just coming out of you, because it's your true self, it's your true light. And I hear every word that you say. We were conditioned to believe that the success supposed to look a certain way. You're supposed to have this degree and that degree, and I believe it because I have similar experience that you do, and I think most women had that type of experience in some way or the other. Being not enough. You don't look a certain way. So you kind of push yourself until you realize, hey, I'm not even being myself anymore. I'm not happy. Yes. Until you find your spiritual self. And then that's when greatness happens, right?
And women, and I actually had someone tell me that I was double negative once. They actually said, you're Black and you're a woman, you're going to have a tough time in your career. And I bought it. I bought into it. And my behavior showed that, I'm Black and a woman. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. I got to work my butt off or I'm not going to get anything. And so it's so beautiful to be able to tell women, whether they look like me or not, it doesn't have to be that way. You get to choose. You
exactly.
can buy into that collective consciousness kind of BS, or you can say, isn't it interesting that people want me to believe that? I'm going to go do this and see what happens. You don't have to morph yourself into a male version of yourself in order to be successful.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful to have this conversation. And I hope your audience is hearing what we're saying at a very deep level, not an intellectual level, but at the real creative creation level of the heart.
Right. At the level of the soul. And yes. You speak to my soul, Dr. Shepherd. So amazing. And so your why, the reason why you're doing all this, can you put it in?
It's very easy.
Yes.
I want to live in the world that I see in my heart. I want to walk around in that world. I want that world. And so the way that world gets birthed is the society has to birth it. And I'm really wanting to create the ripple effect that allows that world to be birthed one person at a time. Exactly. And especially, there's so much that is not that happening in the world today. There's so much division, so much strife, so much hate speech, hate behavior, judgment, fury, rage. There's a lot of very low vibration energy. Now, there is a plus in the fact that we're experiencing it all, because it's got to come up so we know where it is, not so we can beat it back down, but so we can surround it and fold it with a higher vibration and help to transmute it. Mm-hmm. We aren't going to create war in order to get more love. We have to be love in the midst of these things. And it's a tall order. There's no silver bullet answer. Every circumstance requires a different version of me being loved. I'm not always successful. I still go, whoops, I wish I hadn't done that. Or, oh my gosh, Valerie, what on earth did you say there? And still I rise, to quote Maya Angelou, still I rise, to do it again and again and again and again, and to call more people into the movement, call more people to the Sermon on the Mount, call more people. Like, we have to be it, and we have to create a net of love and light and peace and compassion and sweetness and harmony that enfolds all of this stuff that is not that. Wasn't it Reverend Martin Luther King, who said about love and hate, that you can't stamp out hate with hate. Only love can do that. That's not the exact quote, so forgive me, Dr. King. But yeah, that's what I'm about.
Beautiful.
And I love working with people like you. Right? I get this opportunity to dance and play with other light beings, other people who are committed to the same thing, even though we're doing it in vastly different ways.
Right.
We're still creating a web, and that web needs every one of us. Exactly.
Well put. I agree with you like 100%. Everything you say, it starts with us being love, and you can't stamp hate with hate. You have to stamp everything with love.
Yes, and it's sometimes a tall order.
It is.
So my left brain, my analytical self, whenever I hear that, especially coming out of my mouth, whenever I hear that, I say to myself, yeah, but how do I do it? Like, how do I operationalize? How do I walk in the energy? Mm-hmm. So I'll give a couple of examples. They're very practical. I was at the dollar store a couple weeks ago. I love the dollar store. Like I love to go in and get cards, and I was buying stuff for my birthday. I was buying decorations. I was going somewhere with my mom and I wanted to decorate the room.
Mm-hmm.
So I was buying decorations, and there was a long checkout line. And the women in front of me were absolutely incensed. I mean, they were beside themselves at the long line. And one of them is speaking and she says, I don't know why they can't get another checker. This is ridiculous. The store is big enough. Shouldn't they have people? And so in that moment, I was thinking, so meanwhile, I'm standing there in line and I have this thing that I do in line, which is I go into a meditation and I envision myself getting some real special blessing. Sometimes I do leg lifts and stretch. I use the time for myself. Mm-hmm. And it's a gift to me. It's like, ooh, spaciousness. Let me, I start doing something. So in that moment, there's a part of me that wanted to bark at them. Like there's a part of me that wanted to, can't you see there's nothing that big? And instead I was like, okay, how am I going to be love in this instance? Because they turned to me and said, can you believe this? So they invited me in. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I can either join in, but that's not me, or I can come with the heavy. I'm coming heavy. So I came heavy with the love and I said, it's not really that bad for me. It's just a line. If we tell ourselves the line is all these negative things, your experience of the line is going to be what you say it is. My experience of the line is it's just a line. I'm stretching out my right hip. And they both stopped. Like literally, they kind of caught a breath. Mm-hmm. And then the woman who was the most upset said, thank you for that reminder. And right as she said that, I think it was 1 or 2 lines opened up and she moved right into the line and checked out. They actually checked out of the store before I did.
Wow. By
moving to the other line. I stayed in the line I was in and it was a little slower. But so being loved doesn't mean we're running around telling everybody, I love you, I love you. No, it means that too. That's fun.
That is also fun.
And it means show up in your highest vibration, even when there's all this other stuff going on. Don't allow yourself to get sucked in. Don't be a bystander, be an upstander. I heard that today. That's not my quote. I just heard that today I was in a UN session, and wow, that was really cool. And so that showing up and being willing to stand up in a soft, like you said, loving, compassionate way, with bring your God nature, your goddess nature into the situation, not to tell people they're wrong or that you're right. It's not about that. It's just, here's an option. You want your life to be different? You have to be different in your life. So you want this experience of a line to not be so disruptive to you? Choose to make it not so disruptive. And nice. That was one example. And the other examples that I have are similar. They're about encountering people who are having a tough time. And the compassion that I'm starting to cultivate at a deepest level is to imagine their backstory. And to, as Don Miguel Ruiz would say in his 4 agreements, don't take anything personally. What other people are doing is really about them. Mm-hmm. And when I can remember that and embrace where they are is at anger, where they are is at meanness, where they are is at they don't understand me, where they are is they don't appreciate me, where they are is this is a really difficult situation, where they are is feeling very small, not seen, not heard. Like when I can just be with that without needing to get anywhere or convince anything. And maybe I don't even engage at all, except to hold space and send loving energy that's about, I see you, and I know you have what it takes to get through this situation. And I send you blessings.
Nice. Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's like you look at the other person and it's challenging, and it doesn't matter what they do. They can do the worst possible thing. And your challenge is to see them as that perfect spirit inside, right? And it doesn't matter what the human behavior display. It's like you say, it's not about you. It's them crying out for love, pretty much. And people who are not loving, they just need to be loved.
And yes, and it's not easy. And I get that. I don't want people to hear me say, oh my God, she just is talking Pollyanna. I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
It can be a family member.
Yes.
It can be a family member. And in this day and age, families are being fractured by ideology, by not being able to not even agree, like not even talk about that which they disagree on. That is like, wow. I mean, and I have experienced that personally. And like to remove myself from the situation because the engagement that I wanted wasn't possible because of where I was with certain things and where the other person was. And to be able to love from afar, like to not send hate and vitriol their way because we're not getting along, but to send love and compassion their way because we're not getting along. And that to me is where we pave the way for the not getting along to evolve. To like in heart math, I'm a practitioner of heart math. There's a thing called a heart soak. And it's an actual meditation, a process by which you can unfold. If you imagine that whatever that thing between us is, if we imagine it as a pocket of pain, a pocket of ugliness, a pocket of anger, a pocket of whatever that's disrupting our ability to have a connection. And in the heart math tool of heart soak, it's like soaking fabric, you surround that with love energy. Like you absorb it into your divine heart, not your romantic heart, your divine heart. And you hold that energy field in a bigger, more powerful energy field, which is love, and allow it to dissipate. It doesn't necessarily magically make your relationship better, but it does give you peace. Forgiveness. To me, heart soaks are like mini acts of forgiveness. And forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about me.
Exactly.
How do I get peace back into my heart? How do I let go of whatever anger, resentment, guilt, shame, blame, punishment I'm holding on to? How do I allow myself to be my God self and to interact, move through life at a high vibration that attracts more high vibration?
Right. Beautifully said. You're amazing. I love that. And, when you focus on certain things, right? And that's like when you said, be the high vibration so you can attract the high vibration. And if you are at peace and if you just let go of the whatever the other people think, you send them love. And one day, eventually, whatever that block may be for them will dissolve. And that's all we can hope for, right? We do what we can control, which is us, our action, our thoughts, our feeling. That's it.
We speak things into being. So let's light and love over people. And over ourselves. I can't tell you, one of the most powerful transformations in me has been how I speak to myself about myself. I used to, for years, call my knees bad knees. I have bad knees. I have bad knees because I had injuries from all the sports I did. And, now I know I'm telling my body how to behave. Like, I don't use that language anymore. Even when I'm talking to a doctor and the doctor says, "Oh, which one's your bad knee?" I don't buy in. I don't even shake. I even don't want to shake my head. I just say, "This is the knee that's troubling me at this moment." And I get really conscious about the words that are coming out of my mouth. If you are, in certain religious understandings, like at the beginning, there was the word, and the word, let there be light, the words created. That was creation energy was in the word.
Yes.
So learning that some of my words about myself were really demeaning and derogatory. And I think they were triggered sadness when I really got clear on them, that wow, I'm not very loving to myself. And all love starts with self-love. If you can't get into a loving, accepting relationship with yourself, it's very difficult, because it's very difficult to extend that to others, because we're looking through the eyes of our own retribution. So we see in others the same things we can't accept in ourselves. And so self-love allows us to be more compassionate when the other does something that, pushes our button.
Right.
Kind of remembering, oh, I do that. I wonder what it's, I know why I do it. I wonder why they do it. How can I close the gap between us rather than see us as so separate and different?
And sometimes what we think we saw in others is not really what they are. It's just our thoughts projecting onto them, right?
Yes.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. I know very well that I projected things onto people that were really my own problems, my own pain, my own judgment. Yes. You are so right, Dr. Sass. So right.
Right. We can talk forever, Dr. Shepherd. I want to ask you a few more questions before we run out of time here. There's just so many things to ask you about. And you've been through this healing journey. It's not quite one situation that give you that moment. It's a process, right? And what can you tell our listener and people who, lack self-love or going through some issue with relationship? What is the golden nugget that you can give them? Where can they start?
Thank you. That's a very big question. So every situation is different in terms of the dynamics of the situation. But in many ways, every problem is the same problem. We're wanting to be seen, heard, understood, to be found credible, to be believed, to be loved. And the other person's trying to do the same thing. And in a situation, whatever's going on, anything that's going on, if it's not what you want, the first thing to do in the middle of the situation is to stop trying to get somewhere. Stop trying to push your point of view. Stop trying to get what you want out of the person. Just stop. Take a pause. Take a deep breath and check in. What typically happens is we get on this runaway train of emotion. And we're worried and we're fearful and we're anxious and we're like, I got to show them. And they haven't, whatever that is, energy takes us actually away from our true selves. It obscures our ability to hear the true self's guidance on what is the thing to do next. So I always tell people my very first step, number one, and when you're in the heat of the moment, is to breathe. Just breathe for a moment. The second thing is to look in the moment for where is there common space? Where can I agree to something? Now, why am I saying that? Because agreement is yes energy. Yes energy is a higher vibration than resistance and no energy. I'm not always great at this, but yes energy, what can I agree to? So you mentioned that I have done comedy. I've done live improv comedy. And the number one rule in improv is this thing called yes and. And when we look in life, most people do yeah, but. And but is resistance energy. So if you can train yourself, when you can train yourself to go to take a breath, this is kind of a difficult situation, find something I can agree with and do the yes and. Yes, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. Yes, like if somebody stops me, you just ran over me in traffic. I really do look for a place to say, yes, I can see you're very upset. And I didn't really mean it intentionally. Yes, I can see I bumped into you. It was not intentional. Yes, I can see that this is something you really want me to get, and I'm listening. Or yes, I see this is something you really want me to be on your side about, and I'm trying to get there. Not there yet. Like, what can you do? In other words, diffuse, take the anger, bring it down a notch to a place of neutrality. Breathe, find something that you can yes and, that's giving you a moment to just let go of all that whatever, and then chart a course. What's the course? What do I do now? And the course should always be dictated by what you want, not what you don't want. We're so used to, but I don't want that. So I sometimes ask people, what do they want? And they tell me all the things they don't want. And I have to go, wait a minute. I asked you what you want. So we go from breathe, which means I'm taking a breath. Find a yes and moment. Yep, I can tell that you're upset. What do you want? I'd really like for us to get to a better place than where we are right now. Maybe now's not the time to continue talking about it. How about if we talk about it some other time? Or if it's not you and another person, you're sitting looking at your computer and you just got a letter and it says, no, we're not going to hire you. Or you did it wrong. Your manager is telling you, this isn't what I asked for. You did it wrong. And it's an email. So you're looking at it. Breathe. Don't start projecting onto your manager that he hates your guts and he's a racist and he's feminist or whatever that is, whatever that combination for you. Where's the yes and? Oh, well, maybe I didn't put enough energy into it. Yes, he does like this one part, or she does like this one part, or they do like this one part. Yay. Yes, this is working. Yes, and now what do you want? I want to fix this. I want to have it right. I want to get my book done. I want to focus on what you want, then make your plan to go toward it and leave all the rest of it, as much of what that is, the stuff that isn't what you want, give it no energy. When you, in law of the universe, creation goes where your energy flows. So if you're going to flow your energy to what you don't want, you are creating it in the moment. Stop yourself with the breathing, check in with a yes and, create some kind of flow, and then boom, land your energy really heavy on what you want. And the universe is going to show up and make that even bigger. And you just keep doing it over and over and over and over.
Awesome. Awesome. That's very valuable. Very valuable. So you breathe and then you look for the yes and then you focus on what you want. Focus on the positive.
What do I want? Well, I really, really want. Listen to your heart. Your heart's going to carry your desires. Your head is going to carry a whole bunch of other stuff, and it should work in service to the heart. one of my favorite Albert Einstein quotes, I even put it in my book, is that the sacred mind, he calls it the creative mind, is a sacred gift. I point to the heart because that's what I associate with what he said. Mm-hmm. The conscious mind, the intellect, is a faithful servant. We have created a society that worships the servant and has forgotten the gift. So it's the intuitive mind is our sacred gift. And when we tune in there and let this conscious intellect projecting computer up here that we need, but we need it to be in service to something more high vibration. And I'm not talking about romantic heart. I'm talking about the spiritual heart, the divinity of you, the soul.
Yes. I understand perfectly what you said, but I'm glad you clarified that because not all of our listener may understand. But that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Very valuable tools to just go back to, and it's very easy. Just remember to breathe and do the yes and focus on what you want.
And the breathing is something that we all, especially in tense situations, we start to shallowly breathe. And the problem with that is the brain works on oxygen. So does the rest of your body.
Yeah.
So, that comes from the limbic brain. It's part of our fight and flight system. However, when we're just having emotional trauma and there's no danger, there's no reason to go into fight or flight. We don't need to run away or to fight. We need to calm down, come out of that, back into the reasoned, intuitive area of the mind. And that breath oxygenates us and shuts down that limbic reaction. It slows it. So we get a chance to actually, come back into ourselves.
Yep.
Control, be in the moment.
Exactly.
Right, present and ready to choose.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for that. Let me ask you this. If you have 3 wishes, you have a genie in a bottle, you can rub the bottle and ask the genie the 3 wishes. What would your 3 wishes be? And if you can elaborate on why also.
So my number 1 wish is for complete and total healing for my physical body. You mentioned the stroke. The brain hemorrhage happened 7 years ago, and there are a lot of residual effects that I deal with, and I would love for that to be completely in the past. So complete and total healing, and that would just give me a lot more stamina. I could go back to doing what would most people would put in the she works category, and I would be able to serve more and serve at a higher vibration without the pain and some of the other things that are still here. So that's number 1. Number 2 would be to resolve whatever's inside me that is potentially getting in the way of me playing a bigger game. I don't want to play a bigger game so that I'm known and visible. I think known and visible are measures of impact and reach. And I would like to expand what I do 1,000-fold and reach multitudes in order to help them discern where the magic is in their lives and to remember that they are co-creating it. So to equip people with the tools to create the sweet and peaceful in them so that they can express it and be it and co-create. Like one of my friends has a mug that says, and I have it downstairs because she gifted me one, I'm a member of the Heaven on Earth construction crew, Dr. Jennifer Huff. And I love that mug. I am a member of the Heaven on Earth construction crew. And so my second wish would be multiply my impact. Show me how I can touch you get touched and you get, as Oprah, you get touched and you get touched and you get a new heart and you get more love and you get more love and you get more love. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to.
Yeah, I love Oprah.
Yes, I want to expand. I want to give everybody a new heart of love and light and handle their pain and their wounds. And what would the third one be? What would the third one be? Oh,
Rob Eugenie.
I know. I'm thinking. Okay. I would like. This one is totally for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would like an epic fairy tale, epic romance. And then I would love to be able to share what it's like to be in the spiritual, like Eros Gamos of the kind of spiritual love where two people are coming together as whole individuals and spiraling up together and co-creating together in divine energy. That is an experience I haven't had, and that would be pretty awesome.
Nice. Consider your 3 wishes granted. I speak for the universe.
I received that, Dr. Sass. I received that. Thank you. I'm gonna.
We'll do this together.
Yes.
We'll do this together, and I believe it. Whatever you want, if you put your attention, and you spoke about it earlier, if you put your attention on it, and if you are very clear of what you want, right, you received it. And this is the one thing that I kind of weave into this podcast, because I believe we kind of understand each other. We know that we create our reality, and whatever we want, as long as we put our order out there into the universe, and we realizing that we deserve it, right? In a way, the universe will grant us that wish, because words are powerful, thoughts are things, and we create our reality. And if that's what you truly want, it's coming.
Exactly. And as I continue, especially as I continue to remove any blocks from it, any things that are not in alignment, right? It's whatever energy inside me, subconsciously or unconsciously, is speaking a different alignment of energy than what I want. As I release and heal and forgive that, I come into more alignment, greater alignment with the magic and the miracles and the mysticism that I am wanting to create.
Exactly. Well done. It's been so great talking to you, Dr. Shepherd. I can't believe it's like been an hour almost. I know it's the time just fly by, and I'm sure some of our listeners would want to follow you, look you up, and buy your books, or you just have an amazing, just enormous wealth of knowledge. I learned something, many things from you today, Dr. Shepherd, and I really truly grateful for your presence here today. And where can the listener find you? What's the best place?
There are a couple of ways. I'm glad that you mentioned my book. So you can go to happytobeme.net, and you can order the book at the website. It's about 25% off the Amazon price. You can also find it at Amazon. And you can message me through the website. So happytobeme.net. And if you're in a position where you're like, I don't know if I can afford the book, that's okay. There's also a place there where you can download a PDF copy free. And then if you want to play in these learnings, play in the teachings that I talked about today, come to my Facebook group. We've just hit 1,000 members, and we're on a mission to create a movement of more peace, love, and joy on the planet. So you can play with like-minded people who are practicing these teachings and learn in a group. And so it's facebook.com/groups and then /the Bliss Collective, The Bliss Collective. And if you just search The Bliss Collective, you'll find me on Facebook too.
Great.
And of course, you can always go to my LinkedIn profile.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Shepherd. And I will place all the links, the LinkedIn, the Facebook, the free experience, the video gift, and your all the links that you sent me. So, our listener can go there and just click on the link too. So thank you so much, Dr. Shepherd. It's been a pleasure. And I hope you come back again and we can have more conversation, because I'm sure there's more to talk about.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Sass. This has been fabulous. And to your audience, many, many, many blessings.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.